We didn't grow up with much, but we had structure. Not the kind that suffocates you, just enough to keep things from falling apart. Our mother had one rule. Just one. No strangers in the house when she wasn't home. It sounded simple because it was simple. No long list. No curfews. No unnecessary pressure. Just that one boundary. And she trusted us to respect it. I did. My sister, Amora, didn't. At first, it was small things, friends stopping by, laughter echoing a little too loudly through the hallway when I knew she was bending the rule. But she always brushed it off like it was nothing. Relax, she'd say, rolling her eyes. They're not strangers. But that wasn't the point. The rule wasn't about familiarity, it was about safety, discipline, and trust. And trust, once cracked, doesn't shatter loudly. It splinters quietly. I warned her. More than once. This is the only thing Mom asked of us, I told her one evening. Why risk it? She just smirked. Because nothing ever happens. That was the problem. She thought consequences needed an invitation. And one day, she sent one. The day everything started shifting didn't feel important at first. It was just another afternoon. I came back from work earlier than usual. The front door wasn't locked. That alone made my chest tighten. Inside, the house felt wrong. Not messy. Not loud. Just unfamiliar. Like something had passed through and left its presence behind. Then I heard voices. Male voices. I froze. Slowly, I walked toward the living room, every step feeling heavier than the last. And there she was, Amora, laughing like nothing mattered, sitting with two guys I had never seen before. They stopped when they saw me. That silence said everything. Who are they? I asked, my voice calm but firm. She sighed like I was the problem. Friends. They're not supposed to be here. They're not strangers. That's not your call to make. The tension snapped into place instantly. She stood up, defensive. Why do you always act like you're the parent? Because someone has to act like we care about the rule. Her friends exchanged awkward looks. One of them chuckled nervously, clearly uncomfortable. I didn't yell. I didn't escalate. I just said, they need to leave. And that's when she looked me dead in the eye and said something I didn't expect. No. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just disobedience. It was defiance. Her refusal wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was worse, it was deliberate. The kind of no that doesn't just reject a request, it challenges authority entirely. I stood there for a second, letting it sink in. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew whatever came next would change things between us. Amora, I said slowly, don't do this. She folded her arms. They are staying. Her friends shifted uncomfortably again. They knew they were in the middle of something deeper than just a disagreement. I turned to them. You guys should go. One of them stood up immediately. Smart move. But the other hesitated, glancing at Amora like he needed permission. That irritated me more than it should have. This isn't your house, I said bluntly. Leave. He left. Now it was just us. You embarrassed me, she snapped the moment the door closed. No, I replied. You embarrassed yourself. Her expression hardened. You think you're better than me? No. I just think I understand consequences better than you do. She laughed bitterly. Nothing is going to happen. That sentence again. That same dangerous belief. I shook my head. You keep saying that like it's a fact. It is. I looked around the house, our home, and something in me shifted. You're wrong, I said quietly. And for the first time, I meant it with certainty. That night, I tried one last time. Not as her brother. Not as someone enforcing rules. Just as someone who didn't want to see her crash into something she couldn't walk away from. We sat in silence for a while before I spoke. You're pushing this too far. She didn't look up from her phone. You're overreacting. I'm not. You're testing something you don't understand. That got her attention. She finally looked at me, annoyed. Then explain it. I leaned forward. This rule isn't just about strangers. It's about control. About knowing who has access to our space. Once you lose that, you lose everything. She scoffed. You sound paranoid. No, I said. I sound prepared. She shook her head. Nothing has happened. Nothing will happen. I studied her face. She really believed that. That invincibility. That illusion of control. That idea that consequences only happen to other people. I won't cover for you, I said finally. She frowned. What does that mean? It means if something goes wrong, you handle it yourself. Her eyes narrowed. So you're just going to let me fail? I didn't hesitate. Yes. That answer sat heavy between us. Because deep down, she expected something else. She expected me to save her. And I already knew. That wasn't going to happen. It didn't take long for her to push it again. 3 days later, I got a message from Amara. Not a call. Not urgency. Just a casual text, you coming home tonight? That alone told me everything I needed to know. I replied, why? No response. That silence wasn't empty, it was calculated. I could already picture it, music low enough to avoid attention, laughter spilling into the night, unfamiliar faces stepping into a space they had no business being in. I didn't rush home. Not because I didn't care, but because I wanted to see how far she'd go without interference. For once, I wasn't going to interrupt the pattern. I was going to let it play out. By the time I got back, it was late. The house lights were on. Too many lights. Inside, it wasn't just 2 people this time. It was a gathering. 4, maybe 5 strangers. Drinks on the table. Shoes scattered by the door. Someone sitting in mom's chair like they owned it. And Amara. Right in the middle of it. Laughing again. Like nothing could touch her. She saw me and froze, but only for a second. Then her expression shifted into that same stubborn confidence. Oh, you're back, she said, like I was the unexpected one. I scanned the room slowly. You turned this into a party. It's not a party. It's not allowed. She rolled her eyes. You're not going to start again, are you? I didn't raise my voice. Didn't argue. Didn't even react the way she expected. I just nodded once. And said, all right. That confused her more than anger ever could. Because for the first time, I didn't try to stop her. People mistake silence for agreement. That was Amara's biggest miscalculation. I went straight to my room, closed the door, and let the noise exist without me. Laughter echoed down the hallway. Music vibrated through the walls. But I didn't step in. I didn't interfere. And I definitely didn't protect her. That was the shift. Every bad habit survives on intervention. On someone stepping in just before things go too far. I had been that person for too long. Not anymore. Around midnight, the noise changed. Subtle at first. Then sharp. A raised voice. Then another. I sat still, listening, not reacting. Footsteps moved quickly across the living room. Something fell. Glass, maybe. Then silence. Heavy silence. A knock hit my door. Hard. I didn't answer. Another knock, more urgent this time. Opened the door. Amara. I stayed where I was. Please, she added, her voice lower now. Still, I didn't move. Because I already knew what was happening. This wasn't about the rule anymore. This was about consequences finally stepping into the room she had invited them into. And I had already made my position clear. She was on her own. When I finally stepped out, it wasn't because she asked. It was because everything had gone quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't signal peace, it signals aftermath. The living room was a mess. Not chaotic, but disturbed. Like something had shifted violently and then stopped. One of the chairs was out of place. A glass lay shattered near the wall. And the strangers. Gone. All of them. Except one. A guy stood near the door, pacing. Nervous. Agitated. His energy didn't belong in our house. "Where's my phone?" he kept saying. I know it was here. Amora stood across from him, her arms wrapped around herself. "I didn't take it," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. He looked at her sharply. "It doesn't just disappear." I stepped forward then. "Problem?" He turned to me. "Yeah. My phone is missing." I held his gaze. "Then you should retrace your steps." "I've done that." "Then leave." That wasn't what he expected. "What?" "You heard me." His jaw tightened. "You think I'm just going to walk out without it?" I didn't blink. "Yes." The tension stretched in. For a second, I thought he might push it further. But something in my expression must have convinced him otherwise. He exhaled sharply, shook his head, and walked out. The door slammed. And just like that, it was over. Or at least, the beginning of something worse. The moment the door shut, she turned on me. "This is your fault." I almost laughed. "My fault?" "You scared him off. Now he thinks I took it." "No," I said calmly. "He thinks someone took it. And right now, you're the only one left in the house who invited him in." Her face tightened. "You're unbelievable." "No," I replied. "I'm consistent." She paced, running her hands through her hair. "What am I supposed to do now?" That question hung in the air. Not because it was difficult, but because it revealed something important. She still expected help. Even now. Even after everything. I looked at her for a long moment before answering. "You deal with it." Her eyes widened slightly. "That's it. That's it. So you're not going to help me?" "No." The word landed harder this time. More final. She shook her head in disbelief. "Wow. You broke the rule," I said. "This is what comes with it. You're supposed to have my back." "I do," I replied. "Just not when you're wrong." That hit deeper than anything else I'd said. Because for the first time, she couldn't twist the situation into something else. This wasn't about me being strict. This was about her being responsible. And she hated that. The call came the next morning. I wasn't the one who answered. But I heard everything. Amora's voice was tense. Defensive. Trying to sound in control, but failing. "I told you, I didn't take it." "No, I don't know where it is." Her tone changed slightly. "Are you serious right now?" I stepped into the hallway just enough to hear better. "This is harassment," she said. "You can't just accuse me." She stopped. Listening. And whatever she heard next, it shook her. I didn't know that," she said quietly. Silence. Then, "Okay." She hung up slowly. When she turned, her face had changed. "What?" I asked. She hesitated. Then said, "He's coming back." I frowned. "For what?" He said if the phone isn't returned, he's involving the police. That escalated fast. Too fast. And I asked, "And what do I do?" There it was again. That expectation. That reliance. I held her gaze. You should have thought about that before you let strangers into the house. Her expression hardened again, but this time, it wasn't anger. It was fear. Real fear. And finally, reality had caught up with her. Fear changes people. You can see it in how they stand. How they think. How quickly confidence disappears when consequences become real. Amora wasn't pacing anymore. She was still. Too still. What if they actually come? She asked quietly. They might, I said. What if they search the house? I didn't answer immediately. Because now she was asking the right questions. Just too late. I didn't take it, she said again, but this time it sounded less like a statement, and more like a plea. I know, I replied. She looked at me, surprised. You do? Yes. Then why aren't you helping me? I took a breath before answering. Because this mattered. Because helping you now teaches you that you can ignore the rule and still escape the consequences. Her eyes dropped. That's not something I'm going to teach you. Silence filled the space between us again. But this silence was different. Heavier. Honest. For the first time, she wasn't arguing. She wasn't deflecting. She wasn't minimizing what she did. She was thinking. Actually thinking. And then she said something I hadn't heard from her in a long time. I messed up. I nodded once. Yes, I said. You did. And finally. She understood.